this is not no coincidence, you know?
Now, another thing people say on social media is that you try to sound like Eminem, and I know he's an influence of yours. Is that a compliment or an insult?
That's bait.
The fuel that keeps the internet going is anger. That's why you have individuals who make a living rage baiting.
Because no rapper wants to be considered an imitator.
Yeah, I take it as a compliment because I'm a student of the game first. Before I jumped in any type of booth, you dig what I'm saying? I know my history well, you know, from Eminem albums to Pac albums to Dre to Snoop. So, you know, if they hear elements and different pieces like that, then, you know, so be it. Because Eminem is, you know, one of the greatest of all time. And nobody can take that from him. I can't take it. New artists can't take it. No, nothing. That boy wordplay is out of this world, excluding the fact of whatever racial color or hip-hop is hip-hop, and he got it.
So if you were with us for the last video, you remember the story we covered of Lil Yachty facing backlash for what users on social media found to be distasteful bait and a desperate attempt to go viral and gain some relevance. And remember we covered how Charlamagne was going off on Yachty when he also spoke about how people use bait to go viral and whatnot, the pot calling the kettle black. So it was only fair to revisit the classic from years ago when he tried to bait Kendrick Lamar with that interesting question during their interview that clearly didn't go as he would have hoped for. And today we got a lot more to cover in this video, as we got Young Buck speak on what it was like working with Eminem, and we also got a couple of huge milestones for M that just came in impeccable timing due to some more bait that was posted on X that failed to go viral. And we'll end it with some more wild updates linked to Drake versus UMG, as it turns out that Drake's team's arguments are already getting flipped in court by the judge, according to recent reports. And starting with Young Buck, days ago, he spoke on what it was like working with Eminem, and as you'd see, it wasn't far off compared to what the game said about working with Eminem on multiple occasions.
A lot of people don't even know Eminem mixed Bloodhound. Eminem is a fucking genius in real life. You know, some people so fucking talented, man, to the point where it's just like unreal. He was one of them. So it's like, Em is one of them motherfuckers where it's like, man, listen. He could be rapping, and then the next thing to see a motherfucker producing and rapping and doing it all at once and making it, and then you get to hear the shit that he's saying and doing. It's like, man, who the fuck is this? Is this God himself rapping like this? Like, it's just, this shit ain't easy. You know what I'm saying? Some people might make it look easy, but it's not. He wanna make this shit look easy while he doing this shit. So yeah, I always give Em and Dre they props, you know what I mean? But mixed that record, man. That was the first time that kind of, they was like, yo, man, before I had actually got out there with him, I had got him the Bloodhound record. So Sha had reached at me and was like, man, Em love this record. I said, what? I'm right here on the block at the trap, you know what I'm saying, doing my thing. I said, what? He said, man, Em loved the record, bro. He actually gonna mix it. I said, man, what the f did you just tell me, bro? He's like, yeah, man, and we almost done with the contract too, so man, we're gonna need you to fly up and fly out. And man, my whole shit started from there, man. And like I say, man, it done grow me to become the Young Buck to the world, you know what I mean?
And while Young Buck used the word genius to describe Eminem's creation process, we got the Game use the same word when he described what it was like in the studio with M.
Watching Eminem record and his whole recording process, that might have been one of the highlights of my career, because I don't know if you want to call it weird or legendary or some Einstein type of shit, evil genius type of shit, but M is a very, very complex and different individual, and in good ways. When he writes raps, he turns the paper around, he just writes in circles. Oh, really? He turns it. Okay. And when he reads it, he turns it back the opposite way and starts to read it. When we were using paper, I don't know his recording process these days. He also, back in those days, man, Eminem would just eat Taco Bell and drink Mountain Dew like it was like, I don't know, man, like Snoop would smoke weed. But yeah, that process was dope. I'm forever grateful for being able to experience, prime Eminem in his essence in Detroit. That's one of the highlights of my career.
And moving on, the narrative that Eminem's hits did not age well, that was repeated by hip-hop media journals, continues to age like milk, as we got a latest report from Hits Daily Double that shows Eminem's Curtain Call has now sold over 500,000 units in the United States in 2025, and it has reportedly moved over 4 million units in the 2020s decade so far. But something ironic happened just in time for this milestone. Talk about bad timing. My biggest flops are your greatest hits, aged like fine wine. And that curtain call vinyl is never gonna be sold at this rate. And moving on, we got another one, as Eminem's Lose Yourself has now spent 500 weeks on Billboard's Rap Digital Song Sales chart, making Lose Yourself the first rap song to reach this milestone on the chart. And one of the highlights from Eminem's team when it comes to moves that they have made in this decade was the fact that they chose to update Curtain Call's diamond certification just weeks after the infamous Versus article was published by Complex that ranked Eminem outside the top 10 in hip-hop, the same article that claimed his hits did not age as well as his contemporaries. Weeks later, the diamond certification hit social media, and today we also got some spicy updates linked to Drake's lawsuit that shows his team are already getting cooked by the judge, according to reports like this one, for instance. At oral argument, judge asked Drake's lawyer point blank whether Drake's lyrics that Kendrick is not the biological father of his child and that he beats his girlfriend were facts or opinion. Drake's lawyer could not give a straight answer to that conundrum, and we got more on this. I don't want people to think that he froze. Here's what he said in response to the judge's question. Judge for yourself. Mind you, the question is whether the biological father and DV claims are facts or opinion. Quote, I don't know that the court has a record sufficient to be able to make that determination because the court doesn't have the context behind all the different allegations in the song. There isn't a complaint with allegations giving meaning to the lyrics. We don't know. Was there cover art? We don't know. Was there a video? We don't know. Was there a singular message? We don't know how people understood it. So that is both a determination that the court doesn't need to make here, nor is there one that the court has a record to make here. That could be the subject of questions that I imagine UMG will want to get into in discovery in this case, but it is certainly not a reason to find that the pleadings fail to state a claim on which relief can be granted. And this breakdown went viral on X, and even some of Drake fans are struggling to hold on at the moment. LOL, I still like a lot of Drake songs, but sheesh man, separate the art from the artist. Dude is a freaking loser for going to court over rap beef. And we got some more clarifications from the lawyer on X on the issue of the judge's question to Drake's lawyer. Drake doesn't have to prove his statements are true, but the question matters because of context. If both of us are trying to outdo each other at hurling insults, exaggerations, opinions, and lies at each other, what you said to me matters when you sue me for slander to determine whether it was factual mudslinging or an opinion-based insult galore. And Kendrick Lamar's subreddit have been going off as these details and screenshots hit the web, like this one for instance. Judge tells Aubrey's lawyer she can't ignore what was said on Tailor-Made Freestyle. He is cooked. And check out some details from the screenshot. And let me give you a hypothetical. If two people are arguing on the street and throwing insults back and forth, and then later on one of them says, okay, that particular statement, you defamed me. I have to know what the interchange between those two individuals were that were throwing insults to understand the full context in which whatever statement was made. Isn't that comparable here? Someone insults, the other person responds with further insults. The other person responds with other insults. How can I just take one of these songs in isolation and apply a completely different standard to it because 3 months later, billions of people have now listened to it? The court, let me go back because we were addressing the various inferences that can be drawn from the lyrics, and one question I have for you is, do I have to draw an inference from the lyrics? Do they speak plainly? So for example, let's go back to the Taylor Freestyle lyric, which is, talk about him liking young girls, that's a gift from me. And in the context with the AI voice of Tupac, it is clearly, one can clearly read it to be a goad from Drake to Kendrick as part of their back and forth in the rap battle to bring up rumors regarding pedophilia and Drake. I don't know how else one could logically read that. If you have an alternate reading, I'd like to hear it, but I don't think I have to draw an extreme inference to understand what that line is. And from Drake's lawyer, Mr. Gottlieb, well, Your Honor, the court, what would be the inference that would be favorable to plaintiff of that line other than the one that I just put forward? And Kendrick fans on Reddit have been going off, reading through more of this, and the judge is saying the same thing most reasonable people would say about this, LOL. And the lawyers arguing about cultural ubiquity of the song as a reason for defamation is hilarious, laughing emoji. Drake really just mad the song blew up and he couldn't escape it the same way he escaped Adidon by being bigger than Push. And the fact that his own argument is being used against him for some of the claims he made on his diss tracks aimed at Kendrick sparked more reactions like, "Finally I'm glad the judge brought up tailor-made. Drake is just upset that his attempt to get ahead of the pedo rumors blew up in his face, LOL." And apparently Drake was misled by 8 Mile because in response to this, what the F was he thinking? How do you jump out and go, "I know you're gonna call me a pedo," and that Epstein-ish is what I expected, especially since Kendrick said Weinstein. Both terrible, but Drake picked the worst one to associate himself with. And in response to this we got, he watched 8 Mile too many times, laughing emoji.
Damn.
And when this ends, we may have a situation in hip-hop where diss tracks were fact-checked in court, line by line, before they reach a verdict. And to be honest, since this has already started, I'm in support of them going line by line and combing through all the diss tracks at this point. But over to you guys, I'll be looking forward to your thoughts in the comment section. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.